All right, Shalom. I want to start off as always by giving our praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Racha HaKodash. That one is unto the apostles, the elders, and the bishops of Great Millstone. I want to send much love unto the brothers out there doing this work in truth and sincerity. And I also want to send peace and blessings unto the believers of the hopeful elect. And in this lesson, I wanted to speak about the breaking news that's happening in the UK. And this news is that digital ID cards will be for all UK citizens, right? We've been talking about this for the longest, okay? From the apostles on down. We've been talking about the digital IDs. We've been talking about the digital currencies, okay? And we've been telling people time and time again that this is going to be implemented amongst the people, okay? And once this stuff gets implemented amongst the people, there's no turning back from it. Time and time and time and time again, we talk about this stuff, bro. And now it's here. Now it's here, bro. There is no turning back, okay? Give me 1 second. Salakia. Salakia. My bad. Forgot to do something before I sat down. But there's no turning back, man. Okay. As I was saying, we've been talking about this, bro. Now it's here. Okay. If they're doing this in the UK, right? What you think America about to do? Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess what America is going to do next. They're going to come with the digital IDs. Donald Trump already gave these tech billionaires, these tech geeks, the okay to set up the infrastructure for these things to come to pass. America claims to be number one in AI development and all this crap. Well, you think they ain't got the infrastructure for it? Sure they do. They play in the media like, oh no, we're still working on it. Oh, we're just now building the data centers. All of a sudden, they're just now building them. No, they've been building them. They've been ready. And so now seeing this, oh, come on, man. Come on, man. It's only a matter of time, bro. You Israelites out there, man, who still struggle with the breakdown of the MOTB, sooner or later, you're going to look like fools. Sooner or later. This is coming to you, okay? See, in order for you to get access to digital currencies, you need a digital ID first, okay? So they can know who they are assigning the digital currencies to. So you got to get a digital ID first. That's the first step in the Sustainable Development Goals. If you go back and read them, right? Number one, digital IDs connected with your bank accounts. What the UK doing? Giving you a digital ID. So it can be tied to your digital wallet. They've been preparing this stuff for the longest, man. Okay. I've done personally hella videos on this. Okay. Hella videos. The apostle elders, brothers, but hella videos, right? Especially on the UK. Watch it right here. Watch this. Because I mean, I really don't, really have to talk, just let the videos play out, But I just want to show this though, right? So go to my channel here, right? Go to my channel here, type in digital. This is all I'm gonna type in, just digital. A lot of videos pop up, right? But I want to focus on the videos. See that? 4 months ago, right? UK starting digital ID rollout. I was talking about this earlier in the year. Okay, other brothers, okay, the apostle elders was talking about it too, right? In the UK, right? A year ago, the digital euro and digital identity. A year ago, right? And then it's another one. Where the other one at? It wasn't nothing about the UK and their banking system. But the point being, okay, is that these things been constantly talked about, right? Constantly talked about. And we're seeing it happen, okay? We're seeing it happen live in action right before our eyes, bro. Right before our eyes is happening, man. I pray you brothers and sisters out there are taking the faith serious. I hope you're utilizing prayer. I hope you're self-examining yourself. This road about to get very bumpy. You got to keep in mind, at the World Economic Forum, they've been constantly saying they want these things implemented by 2030. They want to be up and running by 2030. Why do you think the UK is moving so fast? They're trying to fulfill an agenda. But really, it's scripture. Because it's going to lead to the MOTB, dog. Do you understand the impact of what's happening right now, bro? The severity of what's happening right now, bro? Your life finna change, bro. All of our lives. It's finna change drastically, boy. When you get that digital ID, you can pretty much hang it up, okay? No more privacy. You're going to need that digital ID for everything. Access to the internet, access to your digital currencies, access to the hospital, everything. Get on the bus, ride an airplane. It's going to be everything tied to you exclusively. So they can identify you. They can track you. They can trace you easily, right? Oh, come on, man. All praise Yahweh Shem Shai, man. All praise Yahweh Shem Shai. This is one step closer to going home. Okay? This is one step closer to getting the hell out of Babylon. Right? You should be praising the Lord, but it's finna get bumpy, dog. Oh, man, it's finna get bumpy, man. So here we go. I'm going to play a little bit of this video because I ain't going to be too much longer, man. But I'm going to play a little bit of this video, though, right? This is from GB News. It says, huge role sparks as as digital ID cards become mandatory for UK adults, right? This ain't an option, okay? This is mandatory. So brothers And sisters in the UK gonna have to get a digital ID card, bro. If they're doing it in the UK, all of the beast system is going to follow a suit. Here we go.
Huge breaking news story. It's been reported that all British adults will be soon be required to carry a mandatory digital ID card under new government plans. Now, this is believed to be part of Sir Keir Starmer's attempts to clamp down on illegal immigration, and we're expecting this could be announced as soon as tomorrow, of course, ahead of the forthcoming Labour Party conference. Now, to discuss this huge breaking news story, I'm joined in the studio by GB News' political editor Chris Hope, the commentator Dominic Moffat, and also the former Conservative Party chairman who's recently joined Reform UK, Sir Jake Berry. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Chris, I'm going to start with you. This idea has been floated by the Labour Party for months and months and months. It's been floated in the past. Tony Blair was a huge fan during the COVID lockdowns. Of course, a show us your papers culture. A lot of Brits will be dead against this. This time, of course, they're wrapping it in the sugar coating of it's our last attempt to control illegal immigration. A lot of people will say, Chris, well, control the borders. Is this a sledgehammer to crack a nut?
You might think that because people who live far away from the coast of England may wonder why their ID will need to be checked because of a government failure at the borders, or the last government's failure to stop legal migration when it had the chance to because of Brexit. But I can confirm that the Keir Starmer will announce at the Labour Party conference that all adults will be required possibly to have digital ID cards. This is a so-called Brit card, we're told here, designed to combat illegal migrants working in the black economy, an issue raised by Emmanuel Macron when he came over and gave that speech. They will be announcing this at the Labour conference. This will take many back to civil liberties concerns. It will worry millions of pensioners who don't have a smartphone, who live off-grid, and will wonder why on earth they are being told to prove who they are because the government can't control the borders. This will be a big row breaking this weekend.
I think this is going to be a huge debate. I'm already being contacted by people who are saying this is the hill they're prepared to die on in terms of getting out and marching against the government. A lot of people, Chris, have very painful memories of COVID lockdowns when COVID passports were severely on the agenda. They were brought in countries like Israel, they're brought in Australia. You had to show your digital ID to go to a synagogue, to go to a supermarket, to go to a library, to get your basic food and provisions for the day. Many people feel this is the thin end of the wedge. It could lead to a totalitarian future.
Britain is one of the few countries in Europe without...
That's how crazy it's going to get. You're going to have to show proof before you do anything, man. COVID was just a little, a little hiccup, a little introduction to where the world's going to be at. It's going to get to a point to where if you can't identify yourself, you ain't getting no goods, no medication, no nothing. Okay? If you can't prove who you are, no. This is how serious life's about to get, bro. It's crazy as hell, but this is where prophecy is heading. Ain't no turning back, bro. As you can see, digital ID cards for everybody, bro. Earlier today, I was watching the elder brother, the head brother over there in the UK, right? When the news came out, he started talking about it immediately, okay? That's how I found out about it. And I try to make sure, that I watch them brothers' videos over there, because in the UK, they're moving pretty fast, as you can see, right? Man, the UK is a big 7-Eleven, okay, bathroom. This is a terrible place, man. So they're trying to restore some order, whatever, right? Trying to fix the economy. So they coming with this stuff, bro. They're pretty much saying, this is the way out. This is the salvation. This is how we want to fix our problems. Okay, the migrant problems. Here you go. Digital ID cards. Eventually, this stuff going to have to go inside your body because you can lose a card, right? You can lose your cell phone, okay, with an app on it. But it's very rare to lose your hand, right? Lose your head. That's where it's going to get to. So next video, okay, I don't want to be too much longer. You can go watch this stuff, man, on your own, right? Same news station. It says, accepting digital ID is slapping handcuffs on yourselves. Neil Oliver and Bev Turner. So here we go. Let me put a little speed on this. All right.
New government issued digital ID under plans set out, which will be set out by Sir Keir Starmer later today in a bid, he says, to tackle illegal migration. Let's get the take of GB News contributor Neil Oliver. Neil, you've been talking about this for a very long time, as have I, at least 5 years. There was a terrible inevitability about it, but I always hoped this day would not come, actually. What do you say on a day like this, on an eve like this, when Starmer's going to introduce this tomorrow?
I honestly think we've got them, Bev. I feel uncharacteristically optimistic about it. I've been, desperately furious about the concept of a digital ID card for a long time, and I've been anxious about the possibility of somebody actually daring to bring one forward. But here it is, and I genuinely think that there's enough awareness, more than enough awareness out there in the general population. I sense that there's going to be mass refusal, mass non-compliance. I think this government has rolled the dice. With instructions from on high. I believe the likes of Keir Starmer and his ilk are just factotums. They've had to roll the dice on this, and it's going to be a disaster for them, and will probably conceivably be what brings them down.
It's never been easier to start a podcast than with Riverside. Here's how it works. First, go to Riverside.
We're going to be, just in a moment, I'm going to talk to Peter Edwards, who's in the studio in London, who doesn't have such a strong opinion on the negatives of this as you might do, and myself as well. So just explain to the absolute layman, because these conversations are going to have to take place now, why this is problematic. And if you can, Neil, do it like in terms of the real practicalities rather than the ideology of it.
It's the way in which it brings everything together. Everything together, all of the information about us, everything from health, everything about your finances, anything that you can think of that's out there in the digital sphere is brought together by this kind of platform. And everything can be used in real time to make judgments about you, about what you propose to do. It can reference things that you've said in the past, done in the past. It can use anything at all that's on your record. It can relate to protests maybe that you've attended, to things that you've said, to posts that you've made on social media, to your financial status. And in real time, decisions can be made about whether or not you get permission to do whatever it is that you want to do next. Put fuel in your car, buy a plane ticket, buy a steak in a supermarket, buy a bottle of wine, whatever it is that you want to do, a decision can be made in advance. Because what is happening here with digital ID is effectively you are being replaced with an avatar of yourself. If you imagine one of those little pieces that you move about on a Monopoly board that sort of represents you on the board, well, they have you in that digital ID, and they can decide whether or not you get to move on the board. And your hands are effectively tied behind your back. Anybody that submits to this, anybody that accepts a digital ID is slapping handcuffs around their own wrists. It's the end of freedom. It's the end of choice. It's the worst possible decision that any freedom-loving person could possibly make. But as I say, I was pessimistic about it for a while. I'm not anymore. We've got them on this. We have them surrounded. Their arguments don't stack up. None of the reasons that they've put forward for doing this make any kind of sense. The very idea that this is going to tackle the people arriving by boats on the shores of the British Isles is absolute nonsense. It was never supposed to do that. The appetite, the desire to bring forward the digital ID was there years ago. And it was understood by the people that wanted to bring it forward that the British people would not accept it. So problems had to be fomented to make people desperate to accept this as a solution. Hence the opening up of the borders and the mass immigration onto these shores that has stoked division, has stoked fear, and the hope has been that people would accept the digital ID as this solution to the problem. But it's entirely bogus. Yeah. All people have to do is not comply, and this thing falls flat on its face. And I am convinced that that is what's going to happen.
Well, prophecy says otherwise. Okay, prophecy says otherwise. You got people going to protest and whatever, you know. You can't protest prophecy. Okay, prophecy come at your neck. All right, like Charlie Kirk. Yeah, come at your neck. Ain't no running from this thing, man. Yes, Esau gonna meet some resistance, but guess what? Prophecy gonna prevail. It has to happen. Now, the few things he named, about everything about you being exposed, everything about you being tracked and traced, pretty much your freedoms are are limited. If they say, hey, you can't go here, you can't go there, they can put it in the system to where you can't get on the airplane or a train, right? They lock your name out the system through that digital ID and make life hard for you, okay, if you're disobedient, man. Brother, this is crazy, but it's prophecy, man. Next video, okay, last video that I'll close out. It says, the U.S. is falling behind on this. Bill Foster advocates digital IDs to fight online scams. So in the UK, they're advocating for digital IDs, because of the migrant problem. This guy, Bill Foster, he's advocating because of online scams, okay, which is crazy, but they want you to have this digital ID so that you can identify yourself, right? You can be tracked, you can be traced, you can be looked at as a person who posted this or said this, they'll know right away who did it, as the dude was saying in real time. Here we go.
Foster is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to our witnesses. I probably stayed up later than I should have last night reading Mr. Benda's excellent testimony. And the thing that struck me over reading that is that identity fraud was at the core of every single one of the frauds, the long list of frauds, whether it's the text message that starts a long romance scam or whatever it is. The point to stop this is at the beginning, and the tool at hand is to provide people with a means of proving they are who they say they are in an online environment. And because of inaction by the federal government, states are doing this. They're standing up what's called the mobile ID, the digital driver's license. This is simply connecting your real ID compliant driver's license issued to the state, which is a pretty unique identity that cannot be it's very difficult to get many fraudulent copies of the real ID. We've done a pretty good job federally on that. But then what you do is you associate that with your cell phone, take advantage of the fact that a modern cell phone is like a security dongle. It has a unique secret ID in there. It's a unique device in the world. And when it gets associated with a real ID, that allows you to prove you are who you say you are in a legally traceable method online. And certainly for every time you open a bank account, that has to be an option to people. Because if you talk about the check washing fraud that we're talking about, they say, okay, you transfer that to a fraudulently opened bank account. Well, guess what? If you're in other countries, just pick your country, say Korea, you want to open a bank account, you get out your cell phone and you prove you are who you say you are, and you can open the account like that because that has been compared against a list of bad actors. You are a single legally traceable person with responsibility for that account. And it does not happen in countries that have done this. And, the U.S. is falling behind on this. Countries around the world understand that you need to be able to prove you are who you say you are. We can do everything that we want with trying to identify patterns of fraud and all of the deep fake impersonations, but the bad guys are getting sophisticated too fast for that. The other side of the coin that they'll never be able to beat is when you have a cryptographic assurance of being able to prove you are who you say you are. And the tool at hand is the mobile ID that's being rolled out by many, digital driver's license rolled out by many states. And this is the real answer to this. And I think that we have to use this for federal government purposes. We've gotten very close to, for federal government purposes, to having motion in both the House and the Senate, never in the same session. But the time is past for that. I think that if industry had access to a simple, efficient way for people to prove they are who they say they are, there would be huge adoption immediately and a dramatic drop in fraud. Does anyone, that whole little spiel I just gave, is there any details you think need to be corrected on that, or do you all agree that that's a...
Congressman, if I could jump in there, I'd like to thank.
Right. So here in the U.S., okay, you got this guy, Bill Foster. They're advocating for digital IDs. He's saying, to fight online scams. In the UK, they're talking about fighting against, the migrants. They're going to use any and every excuse, bro. Any situation. They'll use it, highlight it, justify it to push their agenda. But this thing is here, man. Okay. In the UK, it's about to go down. All right. It's about to go down, man. This is coming to Babylon the Great very soon. All right. Before Trump leave office, Babylon more than likely, going to have some stable coins out there being used, and definitely a digital ID. This is serious, man. This is very, very serious, brothers. All right, we've been talking about this stuff. Now it's here, bro. What you think coming next? The digital currencies. In order for you to get the digital currency, the digital ID, you need the digital ID first to get the digital currencies. Okay? Ain't no way around it. You need the digital ID first in order to get the digital currencies. This is why you're seeing this stuff coming out, bro. They're preparing something. Okay? Something being prepared, bro. To where there's a great shift going to come. Okay? A great shift. And guess what? They're going to use this stuff, these digital ID, digital currencies, as a measure of, proving who you are, right? Doing things, the right way legally. Okay, no scams. All right, we know who using what and who's saying what. This is, hey, man. Hey, bro. Hey, man. This shit real, bro. It's finna go down. Okay? It's finna go down, bro. But as a believer, you should be excited because the Most High giving us this information, these videos as confirmation, for the confirmation that His word is true, and that Yahweh Shai, our Lord, is at the doors, man. So I'm gonna end with this scripture here, then I'm gonna close out. Ezekiel chapter 33. I'm gonna get to the point so I can get my butt in the bed, man. Ezekiel 33, verse 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet has been among them. You know who been preaching about the MOTB constantly? You already know, man. You other brothers and sisters out there who struggle with the MOTB breakdown, go pray to the Lord. The time is short, man. The Lord is putting the spirit on these devils to make a move. They made the move. They want these things to be implemented up and running by 2030. It's 2024. The UK got digital ID cards in 2024. What's coming next? The digital euro. What's coming next is the digital euro, man. If you paid attention, you would have known that they said the UK gonna roll out their digital euro in 2026. Their bank came out and said that. Okay? In 2026, their bank said they want to roll out the digital euro. I'll show you. I'll show you. Then we'll close out. Okay? This is no joke. Digital euro.
their digital currency. And that was really a huge scare for central bankers all around the world. And that prompted
your brothers and sisters out there can be informed, and Lord willing, this is edifying, all right? Here we
The
go.
move from cash threatens to leave the Eurozone without a sovereign universal payment solution. So when the European Central Bank invited me to Frankfurt to find out about one potential solution to this conundrum, the digital euro, I hopped on a plane to find out more. According to the ECB and their promotional material, the digital euro, which would be launched in 2027.
See that? 2027. I said 2026. 2027. According to the ECB, right, the digital euro will be launched in 2027. I said 2026. But I did read somewhere where it says 2026. That's why I said 2026 for, because I remember reading it, right? But just get, further, a clarification. The EBC said 2027. So I was off by a year. But you're hearing it. Okay, this video was done a year ago, possibly 2 years ago. Okay, I remember doing it, right? But this is a serious matter, man. Here we go.
Solution to this conundrum, the digital euro, I hopped on a plane to find out more. According to the ECB and their promotional material, the digital euro, which would be launched in 2027.
So, as you can see here, Europe wants to launch their digital euro in 2027, which is, 3 years from now. Okay, it could be earlier, but this is the date that they had agreed upon. Okay, they agreed upon this date, 2027. This is when the UK will be using officially their CBDC currency, all right, which is called the digital euro, right? So keep that in mind, all right, 2027. But it could be earlier, who knows? But so far, this is all we know, right? 2027, launch digital euro. Here we go.
According to the ECB and their promotional material, the digital euro, which would be launched in 2027, would be one of the greatest transformations of the single currency since it started in 1999. And I'm here to find out what it is, what it could mean for you and the wider European economy, and if it actually is a good idea in the first place. So to understand what's going on with the digital euro, we first have to talk about what money actually is and how it moves around. In practical terms for you and me, it's either cash or most likely, since my audience.
Okay, I want to skip this part here and go to how would digital euro work. Okay, I want to go to 453 here. And I love how YouTube, certain videos, they have it, broke down into sections, man. That helps out a lot, okay? But I'm going to the portion here where it says, how would the digital euro work? All right.
Since your digital euros would be on a wallet provided by your bank. But unlike other digital currency, the digital euro, much like cash, has its value guaranteed by the ECB, which means that even in the event of a bank run, your money would be safe. And according to the current plans by the ECB, it would work in two main modes, online and offline. The online mode might seem familiar. You could scan a QR code or swipe your phone to buy things either in stores or online. These digital euros could then be converted into cash, be turned into promises of euros, or continue circulating as digital euros in someone else's wallet. For the offline mode, you could deposit money on an offline wallet to transfer to another user or business without an internet connection, allowing you to, say, pay with your phone in an isolated mountain hut on a hike. Essentially, these transactions would happen without being centrally processed. But Hugo, isn't that what we currently have with existing types of money and payments? To which I would answer mostly yes. And that's kind of the point. It's designed to be as much like the current system as possible, based off the documentation.
Okay, so we don't play on that. You get the point. Digital IDs being rolled out in the UK, baby. The next thing gonna be the digital euro. So they're giving themselves, right, 2025, 2026 to hash out the kinks, so to speak, with the digital IDs. And then boom, 2027, digital euro. Could be earlier, but we see the digital IDs This is confirmation that they're coming with the stuff, man. So hey, look, man. The men of the Lord have said what we had to say in the spirit. We showed the videos, hella information. What more can we say? It ain't too much more that we can say. But repent and believe the gospel. You still got Israelites who struggle with the MOTB breakdown. A lot of them don't even know that this is going down right here, right? A lot of them don't even know that the UK, Britain, is introducing digital IDs to everybody. They have no clue that this is happening. Jackson were making TikToks trying to do the Ruach dance. This is not a game, brother. This is coming to Babylon the Great too. And when it happens, it's going to catch you by surprise. You're going to be looking crazy. But whatever, man. All praise you, how about Shemal was shot. It's time, man. Shalom.